This is BBC Newsline. I'm Tara Mills. Tonight's headlines: a weekend of tributes and prayers for a murdered mother and her children.
I'm in Maguire's Bridge, where a police cordon remains in place at the home of Vanessa White and her children, James and Sarah.
An eyewitness to the violence which flared in and around the Ryan McBride Brandywell Stadium says the scenes scared young children.
Fireworks was just shooting under the crowd of people that was moving out, and there was about 20 fireworks that came flying out of it, so the smoke was everywhere. I pulled the window and ran down the stairs because I was panicking, shaking.
The senior surgeon appointed today to tackle Northern Ireland's waiting list says they're a national shame.
We do have strategies in place to build up the capacity in the hospital, but we will need the independent sector because of how bad our waiting lists have become.
Some food products, including bags of salad leaves, recalled after the detection of listeria in the Republic. How rocks underneath the surface could reduce our greenhouse gas emissions.
The British and Irish Lions may have clinched the Test series at the weekend, but for the Wallabies, there's now some unfinished business.
And we've had a rather cloudy day. A few spots got the sunshine, but will it be the same tomorrow? I'll have your forecast shortly.
Hello and welcome to Monday's programme. Preparations are underway for the funerals of the mother and two children who were murdered in Maguire's Bridge last Wednesday. The victims were Vanessa White, her 14-year-old son James Rutledge, and her 13-year-old daughter Sarah Rutledge. Over the weekend, the police issued a fresh appeal for information about the movements of a silver Mercedes car between Maguire's Bridge and Newton Butler on the day before the shootings. And yesterday, a prayer service was held in the village of Bearfield in County Clare, where Vanessa was from. Our South East reporter Elaine Mitchell joins us now. Elaine.
The village of Maguire's Bridge is as busy as ever today, but there's a real sense of shock and sadness still in the air here as the people come to terms with the shocking murder of Vanessa White and her children, James and Sarah.
After 5 days closed, the Dromere Road has now been reopened by police. And all the floral tributes and gifts, which had been left at the cordon, have been placed just outside the family home. It remains cordoned off as police try to work out exactly what happened here. One line of inquiry is that this was a triple murder and an attempted suicide. Vanessa, James and Sarah were dedicated members of the GAA, and it paid tribute to them on its biggest stage during the All-Ireland final at Croke Park. And in Vanessa's native County Clare last night, a service was held in their memory.
We come together not with answers of any kind, but we come this evening with broken hearts. We're here because of love. Love for Vanessa, for little James and Sarah, and because of a sorrow that cannot ever be measured.
A man who was airlifted from the scene remains in the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast, where he's being treated for serious gunshot injuries. It's believed that he's Ian Rutledge, the father of James and Sarah.
The Dromere Road, which is about half a mile up through the village, has now been reopened by the police, and this remains an active police investigation. The police cordon has now been moved off the road, but it remains surrounding the family home. And all of the gifts and floral tributes which had been laid there have now been moved to the gates of the family home as police continue to investigate the murder of Vanessa White and her children, James and Sarah.
Elaine, thank you. Now, take a look at this footage captured outside the Brandywell Stadium in Derry on Friday night. Teenagers armed with fireworks and bats and iron bars started trouble ahead of a game between Derry City and Bohemians in the League of Ireland. One eyewitness said the trouble caused great distress for young children who were in the area at the time. Both clubs have been told they should hold the gangs to account. Here's our North West reporter, Kieran Turish.
A teenage boy and a man in his 20s needed hospital treatment for injuries after clashes on Friday evening. Two large groups attacked each other with sticks, bats and iron bars.
You're all right, you're all right, you're all right. You're all right.
Cars were also damaged, with some having their windows smashed. Some of the most serious violence happened outside Donna Brown's front door in the Brandywell.
But fireworks was just shooting under a crowd of people that was moving out. There was about 20 fireworks that came flying out of it, so the smoke was everywhere. I pulled the window and ran down the stairs because I was panicking, shaking. I come down then and the whole alley, everybody was all here. They were all throwing things from inside the gate, outside the gate. There was gas bottles, there was oil drums, there was big pipes, they just started throwing everything at everybody.
One politician who was at the game says the violence was appalling.
It's pretty scary, people wielding weapons, attacking each other, and then what happened after the match would appear to be retaliation for that initial attack, or even more so when people firing fireworks indiscriminately into a crowd of people.
Both Bohemian and our Derry City fans were subject to that both before the match, during the match and after the match, alongside our residents and our children and our young people. So we all quite rightly condemn what happened.
These people were using a football match as an excuse to try and have a riot. And it appears, if you have hammers, sticks and this firework device, all of this was arranged in advance.
Michael Kerrigan has been supporting Derry City since 1954. He says what happened on Friday night had nothing to do with football.
I can't understand what they gain out of it, particularly in the week that there was in Derry, the great spectacle of the Foyle Cup.
The police believe the disorder was pre-arranged, and they're now reviewing all footage from the weekend to try to identify those responsible. They've appealed to any witnesses to come forward. Kieran Turish, BBC Newsline, Derry.
Still to come on the programme, an Irish government minister describes the new EU-US trade deal as the least bad option. A senior surgeon appointed to tackle our hospital waiting list says the system needs to be operating 24/7 with every building and initiative working at full tilt. Professor Mark Taylor says it will be a long-term challenge. The Health Minister says the buck continues to stop with him. Over 500,000 people are waiting for surgery and procedures. Our health correspondent Mary-Louise Connolly has been talking to some of those affected.
Well, as I said, I can't walk about, you see, I can't get up because my hip is smashed.
Just look how Catherine flinches at the pain. She's 82 and has spent 9 months in this room while waiting for a hip replacement.
It's really bad. I'm on a lot of medication. I'm on morphine and all, but it doesn't always do the trick. I need the operation.
And this is the man appointed by the Health Minister to get more than 500,000 people off the waiting lists. He says the already up and running overnight care and diagnostic centres will help make this 5-year plan more effective. He just needs to join up the dots.
So we have 2 ambulatory centres in Northern Ireland. We have got 4 elective overnight stay centres. These are all new, they're separate to emergencies. They are there to work 6 days a week, every single week of the year, if we can make that happen. As well as that, we have the regional diagnostic centres, so there has been an awful lot of change already.
Additional buildings are all very well, but the £215 million set aside to tackle the crisis needs to start being spent to create a 24/7 thriving hospital system. And that will include spending taxpayers' money, buying in services that the health service itself can't provide.
We do have strategies in place to build up the capacity in the hospitals, the elective overnight stay centres, the ambulatory centres, the regional diagnostic centres. But we will need the independent sector because of how bad our waiting lists have become.
Philip's knee replacement could mean up to a 4-year wait. He's not impressed by today's news.
It's too little too late. It's sticking plaster politics. In England at the moment there's an 18 to 23 week waiting list for hip and knee replacement. Over here it's 4 years or more. So we're basically getting a second class service.
Just how effective this appointment will be depends on how much authority Mark Taylor will have to make his own decisions. And if those decisions aren't effective, the next big question is who will be held to account?
Well, I think you know the answer to that. The buck stops with the Minister.
This appointment may be a first for Northern Ireland, but the public say they're tired waiting. There's no time for Mark Taylor to settle in. The groundwork's done. According to these people, it's time for action. Mary-Louise Connolly, BBC Newsline.
Now, some food products are being recalled in shops across Northern Ireland after the detection of listeria in the Republic. One person has died and there have been 9 other cases. Salad bags produced by McCormick Family Farms have been identified and retailers asked to remove them from sale. But there are currently no cases directly linked to the products. Eve Rosado is here. Eve, just bring us up to date. This was first detected last week.
Yeah, so the Food Safety Authority of Ireland last week said a person had died with a confirmed case of listeria and that there were 9 other cases. Now, you can get listeria from eating contaminated food. For most people, it'll pass within a few days. For others, it can be much more serious. So a recall was issued in the Republic for over 100 ready meals last week. Then over the weekend, we got this recall in the Republic about spinach and mixed leaf salad bags. They were being recalled by authorities there. This evening, the Food Standards Agency here in Northern Ireland has announced its own recall.
And there have been some more developments this evening.
Yeah, so the products are 6 different types of spinach and salad bags. They look like this. They're produced by the McCormick Family Farms. I should say, depending on which retailer you've bought them from, they might not have that branding on them. The retailers that the Food Standards Agency here have identified are Dunnes, Lidl, and Musgrave Limited shops. Now, we know Lidl have about 43 shops in Northern Ireland. Musgrave Limited is quite a large offering of smaller shops. Dunnes have much fewer food halls here now. It's important to say that none of these products, these spinach mixed leaf bags, have been directly linked to any cases of listeria. Lidl, we contacted earlier today. They said bring them back, they'll give you a full refund. Other retailers we're waiting to hear from, and just so people know, they can go on the Food Standards Agency website tonight and look at the specific products that have been affected, Tara.
OK, Eve, thanks very much. Now, the Irish government is assessing the potential impact of the new EU-US trade deal. The agreement will see EU exports taxed at 15% among EU countries. The Republic is the most reliant on the US as an export market. The new deal also means that the Republic will have a US tariff rate 5% higher than Northern Ireland. Kevin Sharkey reports.
Avoiding a potential trade war with the US was a key EU objective.
But I think it's the biggest deal ever made. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
The Republic, with a high dependency on US markets, certainly needed a deal. So the new agreement brings relief, even if many questions remain.
We have to study this in detail, and particularly those aspects which apply to certain sectors, you know, the pharma sector, the aviation sector, for example. And I think you can expect some further negotiations and discussions in detail on a range of issues following this headline framework agreement.
And an Irish government minister admits that the new agreement isn't ideal.
We're not exactly celebrating this. It's not a case that this is, you know, a good thing, but it's probably the least bad option based on what we were facing a couple of days ago, the prospect of a 30% tariff, and most importantly for businesses in Ireland and indeed across the European Union, it does give us that certainty.
Alongside that certainty about the new deal being clinched, there is also some uncertainty about how many aspects of the deal will eventually work out in time. But for now, the new deal has been welcomed on both sides of the border.
The fact that they've agreed that they will agree a deal is good news for Northern Ireland. We were facing another cliff edge just next week. That cliff edge has now been avoided. Until we see the detail, we won't know what it means in full practical purpose for Northern Ireland. But the reality is that nobody's upping and moving very expensive manufacturing properties to Northern Ireland on the basis of a 5% tariff differential. The reality is that Northern Ireland needs to be a good place to do business, and it is.
The new agreement is being regarded as a significant breakthrough. But behind the deal, there is the reality that there will now be tariffs where there were none before. Kevin Sharkey, BBC Newsline.
Now, the rocks beneath the surface of Northern Ireland could unlock millions in investment and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions from home heating. Sherwood sandstone is found at different depths here, and a report by the British Geological Survey says that makes us what's being called a Goldilocks region, just right for geothermal energy, using heat stored in the rocks. Some pilot projects are due to report soon, but some are already benefiting from geothermal energy. Here's Louise Cullen.
This rural housing association building in Randallstown looks just like any other apartment block. But residents like Emmanuel Burns have just one piece of heating equipment, a thermostat on the wall.
It's pretty easy to use, yeah.
And he's saving money.
Before I moved in here, I was paying 20, 30, 40 pound a week heating. Whereas now it's roughly 15, well, it is 15 pound a week, and that's your heating day and night, your hot water, your air conditioning. And you're making a saving every week, which adds up throughout the year.
There are 9 apartments in the block. They're all connected to 6 boreholes hidden beneath the car park via these 2 units in a separate plant room. They pull heat up from deep beneath the surface, extract it, then feed it all around the block as warmth and hot water.
The system itself is about 300 to 400% more efficient than a typical gas or oil boiler. Typically it will have less maintenance than a boiler system. They're quite reliable. They've been proven in Scandinavia and these countries for 60, 70 years, so we're only catching up a wee bit now.
But with this rock found across Northern Ireland, the British Geological Survey believes there's real potential to reduce the environmental impact of our heating systems. Sherwood sandstone trapped hot water in its layers as it formed over millennia.
The principle is that the deeper you go into the earth, the warmer it is. So you can either use a closed loop system and drill into the earth and use the heat of the earth to warm up that fluid and put it through a heat exchanger to decarbonise a home, a hospital, a school, a public building. Or you can go deeper still, where there's a greater opportunity for warmer temperatures, and tap that into a heat network for a town or a bigger estate that needs a greater heat produced.
The future potential is being tested in pilot projects at Stormont and Antrim, but for Emmanuel, it's already reality. Louise Cullen, BBC Newsline.
Kerry won a record 39th All-Ireland Senior Football Championship yesterday, defeating Donegal by 1 goal and 26 to 19 points at Croke Park. The Ulster champions had played a record 11 games to reach the final, but found it a step too far. Mark Sidebottom reports.
How dare we doubt the kingdom? How dare we doubt the boy king? David Clifford continues to confound.
Oh, what a score!
It's as if the finest minds in artificial intelligence and digital technology have somehow conspired to create PlayStation's perfect Gaelic footballer. But of course, the phenomenon from Fossa is real. Donegal did manage to get a toehold in the third quarter. But the 137th All-Ireland football final, the first under new rules, simply saw a restoration of the old order.
I don't know what to say. I suppose it's you think about doing it all week. Over the last 2 weeks, you're waking up nearly in the middle of the night thinking about it. So just when it's here and it goes well, such a good feeling. So we couldn't be happier.
All of this chatter that you're the greatest of all time and all of this being compared to the Messi of Gaelic football, does it get in on you?
I nearly take it as a hit because I think there's people who say it and they mightn't be coming from the right place when they say it. I think they're trying to build you up, hoping that you'll fail. So that was a massive motivation for me today.
David Clifford is an exceptional player, you know, and we had a lot of work done on David, and we had a lot of work done how we could close him down. But the reality is, some of the twos in particular that he kicked today were absolutely exceptional, you know. So no, we have no qualms, Mark. Sometimes in life you have to take your medicine, and this is one of those times.
Mark Sidebottom, BBC Newsline, Croke Park, Dublin.
Stormont was a picture-perfect setting this afternoon for a big performance from the Ireland women's cricket team. They won the second one-day international against Zimbabwe to win the series 2-0. Zimbabwe won the toss and opted to bat and set their hosts a modest target of 179 for victory. And with Orla Prendergast top scoring with an unbeaten 67 runs, Ireland reached that total inside 39 overs to win the game by 4 wickets. Next up for Ireland, a T20 series against Pakistan, which starts in Clontarf in 10 days' time. The Belfast boxer Lewis Crocker will go head-to-head against Paddy Donovan at Windsor Park on the 13th of September. The first meeting between the pair back in March ended in controversy when Limerick's Donovan was disqualified punching after the bell. Today, the two fighters visited the venue for their bout that's now been upgraded to a world title decider.
Definitely. It's a dream come true to fight here, especially in the first All-Irish fight, world title. Doesn't get any bigger. It's the stuff of dreams. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was there to watch Frothman lift the world title in the city, and it was amazing. So to follow in his footsteps, and winning our world title for Belfast, it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, look, it's panned out a lot better than anybody could imagine. Lewis Crocker here in Belfast for the world title it couldn't have worked out any better for me after the way the controversial fight went the last time. I thought it'd be a couple of more fights before I get myself back in the position to fight challenge for the world title, but deserve it. When you look back at it, I deserve to be here.
Golf and Porrick Harrington has become only the 5th player to win both the Open and Senior Open after a 3-stroke victory at Sunningdale yesterday. The 53-year-old joins Darren Clark in a select group, and it means a lot.
Haven't won a real Open, coming now winning the Senior Open, it does give some, validation. You come to this stage, there's only a certain window. You can win later on as a senior, but the window is, up to, they sort of say up to about 55, 56. So you want to get it done, and having had a couple of second places, I didn't want to leave it too long. We start coming a problem if you don't win it too soon. So I'm glad I've got mine.
Mike Brown secured a brilliant 4-timer at this year's Armoy Road Races as he took victory in the Feature Race of Legends event, the Open Race and both Supersport outings. Brown from Cork joins Michael Dunlop, Davy Todd and Ryan Farquhar as the only competitors to win 4 or more races at one Armoy meeting. His overall career tally of wins at the North Antrim circuit is up to 8. But this weekend was special, as he told Stephen Watson.
Yeah, it is special because I had to work hard for it at the start. Just wasn't really getting into it, and there was a bit of hair actually in my eye the whole time. I was trying to blow it away. It went away after the 3rd lap, and I just read a defensive race for a little bit, but saw my pit boards and just enjoyed the few laps home then. We came with good expectations, and it's what we came to do, to be honest. Not sounding cocky, but we wanted to do this and we done it, so we're happy.
And my only piece of advice for you is get your hair cut.
I might have to.
Don't do it, Mike. And it was a good weekend for David Allingham, who completed a Superstock double at the British Superbike Championship round at Brands Hatch. The first 2 victories of the season for the man from Eglinton. He's now up to 3rd in the standings, and that is your sport, Tara.
Gavin, thank you very much. Well, the surf was up in Benone Beach today. Good weather for it, Barra?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, although the winds are going to die down over the next few days, so probably not so much. But overall, we have a fairly quiet week. We have some rain to get through tonight and a little bit of drizzle tomorrow. But for many places in the coming days, a lot of dry weather. Dry this evening before we see that rain coming in from the Atlantic moving east. Some will be heavy, but the bulk of it will be falling through the early hours of Tuesday morning. So after that, it'll be a case of some patchy light rain and drizzle tomorrow. Quite a mild night, 15 or 16 degrees the low. So maybe a little bit warm for a good night's sleep for a few of us. Otherwise, tomorrow, cloudy start. We will have some patchy light rain and drizzle, pretty much around the coast. Inland areas probably drier, and then through the day, it's set to turn drier for most of us. Lots of cloud, though, remain tomorrow. Still, temperatures of 19 or 20 degrees. Today, we had 22 degrees in South Down, and we could see the higher temperatures there once again tomorrow. North Coast having the lower temperatures at about 16 or 17 degrees with a fairly light onshore wind. But many places end the day tomorrow on a dry note. Perhaps just 1 or 2 showers for parts of the west. Tomorrow night, some clearer skies develop, so perhaps not as warm, temperatures of 12 or maybe 13 degrees. So the clear skies into Wednesday morning give us a lovely start with some early sunshine. Later on, though, the cloud once more increases from the west, and with that, there is a slight chance of the odd shower before the end of the day. But I think for many of us, it'll be a fine start with some early sunshine before we see the cloud thickening up. Maybe some light rain and drizzle towards parts of the west for a time as well. Temperatures again in and around 20 to 21 degrees. Now there will be some early rain around first on Thursday, but once it clears out of the way, we'll see the cloud breaking up. Some sunnier weather will begin to develop and those temperatures staying just above average. And temperatures will pretty much staying at around 20 to 21 degrees into this coming weekend as well. A lot of dry weather in the forecast.
Sarah, thank you very much. That's it for now. Our late news is at 10:30 from everyone on the team. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.